All right. Yep. We're live on Facebook and the recording is started. So you can start at 10.
All righty. Okay. Okay, I have 10 o'clock on Thursday, April 29th. I will call this meeting of the Sunday County Commissioners to order. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Paradiso, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Yes, thank you. Dear God, thank you for the rain we have today. Thank you for bringing us together to discuss county business. Thank you for blessing us with such a great county and community that we live in. We ask that you continue to look over us as we make decisions and support the citizens of our county. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Nikki, how about roll call this morning?
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
and Commissioner Schuss.
Here.
Okay. I will accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Thursday, April 22nd.
Make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussions, changes? Hearing none. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Schuss,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, we have a number of items on the agenda today. The first of which is to congratulate a young lady. Is it Ava or Eva? Ava? Is she on the line, Jim?
Yes, I believe so.
It's Eva.
Eva. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Eva, I would like to read to you a letter that the Sunday County Commissioners have put together for you. The Sunday County Board of Commissioners would like to congratulate you on your outstanding achievement, earning the Girl Scout Gold Award, dedicating 2 years of your life to your Girl Scout project and helping bring fun and enjoyment to children during the pandemic and a difficult time in their lives is something that you should be very proud of. This award is a great representation of your hard work and dedication to those fortunate. Creating a curriculum with 25 different crafts, but also help provide educational enrichment for children is a huge task, and you completed it with perseverance, regardless of the challenges that COVID-19 pandemic presented you. According to the Girl Scouts website, Gold Award Girl Scouts are dreamers and doers who make the world a better place. When reading this, we thought it was a perfect way to describe you and your efforts. This award is the mark of some truly remarkable proof that not only can you make a difference, you already are making a difference. We are honored to have the dedicated young people like you within Seneca County, helping and caring for others during their time of need. We wish you luck in your future endeavors and are confident we will be hearing more positive things from you. Congratulations and thank you for making our community a better place to live. And that is signed by all three commissioners, Michael Kirschner, Anthony Paradiso, and and Tyler Shaw. So congratulations. And I'll let you, if you want to say a couple of words, you're welcome to at this point.
Great.
Not really.
Not really?
What are your plans for next year and beyond? Girl Scout wise.
I'm done with Girl Scouts since I graduated, but I'm in college right now.
Okay.
Well, we're very proud of our young people and especially you today. And we will get this letter of accommodation to you as soon as we can. And we wish you certainly all good things in the future. Thank you for being a great individual.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the second thing on our schedule is one of our favorite people in the whole world, Beth Schweitzer at the Health Department. Beth, we wanted to have you on today because we know that your time as Health Commissioner is coming to an end here pretty quickly. All three of us wanted to give you our individual congratulations. I'll let each of the guys do that, starting with Tyler.
Yeah, Beth, just wanted to wish you a happy retirement. Our time working together wasn't very long. I wish it would have been longer, but you worked hard and you deserve everything that you have coming to look forward to here in the future with your retirement. But thanks for all that you've done for the county and our citizens here, and wish you the best luck in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your help through the pandemic. Everyone in the county was looking at you for help and guidance. And every once in a while you looked for help and guidance back from us. And we just really, I think we bonded real well as far as doing what's best for the county and just all trying to make things better for everybody. So we know you put your retirement off a year, and God had a plan for you, and we wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you.
From my standpoint, Beth, you know, I know that this isn't the same in all counties, but I thought that we worked very well together as a Board of Commissioners and as a Board of Health. I don't know of any situations in which you weren't as 100% cooperative with us, and hopefully we return that favor to you. So you've done a wonderful job. You were the right person at the right time, and God bless you and your family. Jimmy, do you have a little bit of something you'd like to show us?
Yeah, so there was something we put together kind of on behalf of our office for you, Beth, as you head into retirement. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will play that and you guys can let me know if that's working out. Let's see here. Okay, can we see the video?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let me optimize this real quick here. Oh, gonna have to go back for a second. And I might have to find the clip again. Let's reset this. Sorry, guys. Zoom, I'm telling you, sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt.
You're doing great, Jimmy.
Okay, hold on here. Okay. Let me see. Get back to Zoom. Share screen. Okay, can we see it?
Not yet.
How about now?
Now.
Okay, I'm going to play it and hopefully you guys can hear it. If not, stop me, say something in the chat. Okay.
So the way I started in public health was our local health department needed a health educator. With my nursing background and my degree in communications, felt like a good fit. And one of their employees approached me and said, "Why don't you apply for this job?" So I did, and that's how I ended up in public health, which was probably the best decision I've ever made as far as a career. Public health is so important. It goes back to that whole prevention way of approaching illness, and I think that's the best way.
Beth Schweitzer's decision to enter the public health field is one that we have all reaped the benefits from, and on April 30th, she will cap off a 29-year career in the field, including a 7-year stint as Seneca County Health Commissioner. It wasn't always an easy job, but Beth showed up every day with a smile on her face and with a positive attitude. In working closely with her, you always knew she was going to dedicate herself to do the best job that she could. There are a lot of different ways we could thank Beth for her service to our community, and there are even more reasons to show our appreciation to her and her family. This video is our way of thanking Beth by bringing attention to the leadership abilities she has displayed throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Beth didn't sign up to help guide our community through a global health crisis, but there is no one else we would have rather worked alongside to get through these difficult times.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
The first in the deadly coronavirus outbreak. The U.S. Embassy in Beijing confirmed overnight that the first American has died from the virus at the epicenter in the Chinese city of Wuhan.
When Beth began her career in public health nearly 30 years ago, no one could have guessed that we'd be navigating a global pandemic in 2020.
And when I took this position as mayor 9 years ago, I had a lot of thoughts in my head about what type of issues you'll be dealing with. And never once did pandemics cross my mind, or most likely of the rest of our elected official minds here in Seneca County. But here we are, we're dealing with it. And thankfully, we have a great leadership team at the Seneca Health District.
Each one of the Seneca County Commissioners has enjoyed their time working closely with Beth. Check out their messages that they recorded for her as she heads into retirement.
Hi, Beth. As Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage. Women and men have their entrances and their exits, and this is your exit. But I really wanted to talk about the entrance for many people in Seneca County and how they came to know you. Fortunately for me, you and I had been veterans of a couple projects that we're working on together, the Attica Eagles and the facade and entrance of the health department. So we had a relationship. So when the pandemic broke, early in the year, before it was on everybody else's radar, I felt like I had a great relationship with you, and we began to talk immediately. I was happy to have a health commissioner that had previous experience and knew that we were in good hands. So when the communication started coming from the health commissioner, I had the relationship, but it was an entrance for a lot of folks in Seneca County. And your cool, calm demeanor, your consistent message, your tenacious work ethic, all proved to be invaluable over the last year and a half as we worked through what was an unprecedented time. And you never know when you have the right people in the right seat, but we clearly did at this time. And so I was very proud and happy to work with you through the difficult time. Your consistency, your resiliency really helped lead all of Seneca County through a troubling time. So I appreciate your effort. We'll miss you dearly, and thank you for making Seneca County your home and leading us in this most challenging time.
Hey Beth, Commissioner Schuff here. Just wanted to wish you a great retirement, very well deserved. Want to thank you for everything that you've done here for us here in Seneca County. You deserve this. It's been great working with you thus far. Honestly, I wish I had more time to work with you, but we're always here if you need us. Your family's always here. Take care, and best wishes to you.
Good afternoon. I'm here to talk about the service of Beth Schweitzer. Beth, as many of you know, is the Seneca County Health Commissioner. Beth has been in this role for more than 7 years, virtually about the same time as I've been privileged to serve as commissioner. We have been through a number of situations with Beth throughout the years, and I have been always impressed by her professionalism and willing to adapt to the current situation. The COVID situation, however, is something that none of us thought would ever come to pass. The burden of the COVID situation as it relates to handling it on a countywide basis fell on Beth's shoulders. I've got to tell you that I'm extremely impressed with the way that it was handled. I continue to be impressed with the way that she has been able to maintain both the testing and vaccination process throughout the county. I'm very proud to call Beth Schweitzer our Seneca County Health Commissioner. She's done an outstanding job for all the years that she's done here and all the years prior to that as a public servant. Beth truly has the heart of a servant, and I wish her well in her retirement.
Beth, thank you. In March of 2020, COVID entered the United States, took us all by surprise. We just didn't know what to do. We had no idea the magnitude that this was going to take, the impact it was going to have on our local communities, and we all got the news at the same time. The elected officials, the governor, the health commissioners, and we took that news and we really didn't know what to do, and we all looked at you. You were our leader. You didn't hesitate. You stepped up. I know it was difficult, very difficult, but you led. We leaned on you. You showed tremendous leadership. Employees, thank you. And in addition to that, as we reflect back, God had a plan, and He postponed your retirement for a year so you could do that for us. And in summary, I want to say again, thank you. Thank you and thank you. And I want to wish you all the best in your retirement. And this time it's for sure. Take care.
Well, there you go, Beth. God bless you. You can have the last word.
Oh, I just want to say, this is tough. Thank you to all of you. I could not have had a better group of people to work with anywhere. And like you said, Tony, it was in God's plan. I was supposed to end up in Tiffin, and I was supposed to be at the health department doing what I love. And I was supposed to make wonderful friends through all this. And you continue to be my friends. And I will, I'll be around. Don't worry. I'm going to be here. So thanks from the bottom of my heart to everyone.
Thank you. Okay. We are going on now. We have a representative from the Ohio Secretary of State, and he's going to give us an update, I believe, as it relates to elections. Jacob Hunter, or Huner. Jacob, are you on the?
Yes, sir. Thank you, commissioners, for having me today. I feel like it's going to be a little hard to follow up that. Beth, congratulations on your retirement. But my name is Jacob Huner. I'm the Northwest Ohio Regional Liaison for Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose. I've been with the Secretary of State's office for 2 years now, and my job is to work in 16 counties throughout Northwest Ohio and work with local organizations like the Chamber of Commerce or Economic Development Foundations to make sure that our office is best serving them. But perhaps the most important job that I have is the work that I do with the Board of Elections. I attend their meetings. I make sure that if they have any questions, that they get answered swiftly so that they can best serve the voters of their respective counties. I'll also note it was also a pleasure to have Secretary LaRose in Seneca County for the second time since he's taken office, just this past Monday, where we had a roundtable discussion with local business leaders that was hosted by the Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce. And we had a great discussion talking about how our office can best serve you all in the business community around Tiffin. But I'd like to take this opportunity to give you an update on the Ohio Secretary of State's office and what's been going on over the last year, and then look forward to what for you to all expect from us, looking forward for the rest of 2021. And I'll also briefly touch on our new Boe File System, which was rolled out earlier this year. But I'll start by talking about our Business Services Division, because when most folks think of the Ohio Secretary of State's office, their mind goes strictly to elections, but we actually play a vital role in Ohio's economy, being the sole entity that grants the authority to do business in the state of Ohio. Now, when the coronavirus pandemic first hit the state of Ohio in late February of 2020, our office expected business filings to fall drastically for the duration of the pandemic. Who is so brave to take on new risk when it comes in the face of uncertainty? And the answer to that question is Ohio entrepreneurs, because beginning in the month of April, we started seeing something pretty surprising. Monthly business filing records were being crushed time and time again. And in fact, by the month of October, we had beat the previous record that was set in 2019 of about 131,000 new businesses filed. And when all was said and done, Ohio had in 2020 171,000 new businesses filed throughout 2021. Now, this isn't a perfect economic indicator. We know many small businesses fail in their infancy, but our office has taken it upon ourselves to provide resources to them or give information to them about resources that are available by providing an optional survey that we rolled out in 2019, where upon their business filing, business owners had the opportunity to provide information to us about their demographics, the geographic area they're in their community. And then we can pair them up with reputable organizations from across the state that provide resources to them that they might not know about. Things like access to capital, which is absolutely vital in the first 5 years of a company's life, or even a mentor or mentee relationship, where a successful business owner can go and work with a small business owner and say, this is how I made it. If you take these steps, hopefully you can follow in our footsteps. And that's something we're very proud of. The response rates on that are higher than we ever expected rolling out. Last I checked, it was about 80%. And so that's very uplifting, knowing that folks are getting the resources right in front of them upon their filing of their business, instead of 4 or 5 years down the road when it's absolutely necessary to get that access to capital. Another program I'd like to highlight is our Ohio Business Spotlight program, where our office uses our platform on social and traditional media to highlight businesses across the state for various reasons. In November, for instance, we highlight veteran-owned businesses. In January, we highlight businesses that are a century-year-old. And we talk about the great work that they're doing in their community. It provides an opportunity for these organizations to get some well-deserved press. We haven't highlighted any Seneca County businesses just yet. We just revamped the program earlier this year, but I'll be happy to provide you commissioners with a list of upcoming themes we have. And if you have any suggestions of local businesses you think fit the bill, I'd be happy to forward that on to our team, and we can get some Tiffin businesses highlighted through our office. But we didn't just have a successful year in the world of business. Our election in 2020 in Ohio was one of the most successful we've ever had. It's no secret that 2020 presented the most challenging environment for Ohio election officials to ever run an election in the history of Ohio. We've had elections run in other pandemics, Great Depressions, world wars, but as technology has advanced, we also introduced cybersecurity threats. But I'm happy to report to you all that the Seneca County Board of Elections looked those challenges in the eye and exceeded all expectations and ran a great election. In fact, our elections director, Amanda Grandjean, sent a congratulations email to Jim, Lori, and Chairman Fruth, and the rest of the board, congratulating them on a job well done throughout the 2020 election cycle. And I know you commissioners have a major role in providing them resources and making sure that they are well equipped to run elections. And I want to thank you all for that personally. Our office took on new and interesting roles during the pandemic to help enable success to our 88 County Board of Elections, whether that be procuring donations of PPE or securing federal and state funding. We managed to take on these roles, and I think we also exceeded expectations. In fact, our office, while we are Frank LaRose is the Chief Elections Officer in the state of Ohio, we understand that we don't count any votes in the state of Ohio, the Ohio Secretary of State's office. That happens at the local level. And so when we receive funding, we do our best to distribute that down to where it matters most, and that's the local level. Last year, we provided the Seneca County Board of Elections $142,402.21 to help enable them to run a successful election in times that many county board of elections were having their budgets cut across the state of Ohio. Our funding helped enable them to run successful elections. It's not just my opinion, though, that we had the most successful election in 2020. It's in the data. In the 2020 election cycle, Ohio passed over 8 million registered voters for the first time, which is really just amazing. And of that 8 million voters, Statewide, we had 5.9 million Ohioans make their voice heard in the 2020 elections, and that's about a 73.9 turnout, which is a record-breaking year in a pandemic. Seneca County can hang her hat knowing that her voters turned out higher than the statewide average, with 75.75% of voters casting their ballot. We also saw voters casting their ballot in a new way. Last year, we had almost 59% of all ballots cast before Election Day, with voters taking advantage of ways to vote that have been available to them for the last 2 decades, early in person and absentee. This is something in light of the pandemic that our office promoted. And Ohioans understand that when they cast their vote early in person or absentee, that it's fair, secure, and counted. In the 2016 election, that number was 33.5% of votes cast early in person or absentee. And so it was a deliberative effort to make sure that the election day ran well, and Ohio was virtually scandal-free when it came to things like long lines on election day. And so that's something we can really be proud of. We also had an all-time low number of absentee ballots rejected. In a typical year, we have about 1% of absentee ballots rejected due to errors on the ID envelope or whether the voter doesn't put their ID envelope in. Our office took the lawyers out of the process, and where the instructions to voters who were casting their ballots absentee used to be about 3 paragraphs long of legal jargon that's a little dense for me to understand. We turned it into a checklist. We said, all right, you fill out your ballot. From there, you go and put it in your ID envelope, you put your name, birthday, and so on. Make sure you sign it at the bottom, and then you give it to the Board of Elections. Whether that be through their Dropbox, you can turn it in, or of course, put a stamp on it and put it in the mail. We managed to cut that number of about 1% in a typical year, over in half. And last year, only 0.42% of absentee ballots were rejected due to error. All of this goes to show you that Ohio has a successful election system. We had a successful year in the year 2020. This is all due to tireless work that was done at the Ohio Secretary of State's office and at our 88 County Board of Elections, with things like our cybersecurity directive that we introduced in 2019, and our election law, things like the testing of machines that we have, a required paper trail, mandatory post-election audits, where in 2015, we found a 99.98% accuracy rating statewide from our certified election results, and bipartisan measures. As you all know, Lori and Jim at the Board of Elections work with their clerks to perform every act in a bipartisan fashion. And these things make sure that Ohio has a secure and fair election, and that we're above board. And that's why we didn't face many of the criticisms other states had. In fact, Ohio has become a nationwide example of how to run an election system, and other states have started to realize that. Our office is receiving constant calls from other secretaries of state's office asking, how did we do it in 2020? Secretary LaRose has been nominated to be the co-chair of the Elections Committee at the National Association of Secretaries of State. And he actually recently testified before the Pennsylvania legislature to explain how we ran 2020 so well. We provided them a copy of our elections officials manual in Title 35 and said, this is how we did it. Because they understand that their neighbors to the west run good elections, and they want to emulate that. Moving on, while our election system is very good, obviously, in our opinion, it still can be improved, and things to take us back into the year 2021. We've introduced, or we have prioritized 3 legislative priorities that we think would make Ohio's election system even better. Things that Secretary of State LaRose introduced when he was in the state Senate, including online absentee ballot requests. Now, in the state of Ohio, you can register to vote online. It doesn't make sense that you have to file a dead tree format to get your absentee ballot request. Being from Northwest Ohio, I know most of my mail goes through Michigan, and it would save 2 or 3 days of mailing to get my ballot to the Board of, or my request rather, to the Board of Elections. Another priority we have would help prevent voter fraud with voter verification in the registration system. Now, currently we have an opt-in system rather for our voter registration system at the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Now, this is spotty in some places because the law currently states that the BMV just has to offer voter registration, and in some places that can just be a pile of voter registration forms on the opposite side of the counter and saying, hey, if you want to do this, we'll send it to the Board of Elections. Others are a little bit more digitalized. But what we're seeking to do is create an opt-out system for registration, which would keep the voter rolls more updated. I'm 26 years old. I've moved about 6 times since I was 18 years old. I've been registered to vote at every location that I've lived at. Now I've canceled my old registrations, but in other places those registrations could sit dead for as long as 6 years. Our final legislative priority is on the business side of things. One thing Secretary LaRose noticed as he crisscrossed the state, speaking with business owners, specifically came from the minority community, where minority business owners would have to prove pretty self-evident information like the race to multiple jurisdictions, to the state of Ohio, to the city of Cleveland, city of Akron. And so what we're looking to do, and we've introduced bipartisan legislation in the form of Senate Bill 105 to cut the bureaucracy and ask state that would require localities to recognize the statewide MBE certification. That's currently in committee, and hopefully it will be on the Senate floor soon. And I'll be happy to give you an update or update you as that goes through. And we also have an election in about 5 days, and it's important that the folks of Seneca County understand that some of them do have an election. If they live in the Fostoria, there's an income tax on the ballot in City Council. Tiffin Schools has a levy in the Clyde Green Springs School District as well. And so while we had a record-breaking year for turnout last year, I don't expect we hit 74% turnout this year, but it's important from your platform as well to go and inform the voters that these decisions matter just as much as who's the president of the United States. And so just encourage everybody to know to hit the polls on Tuesday if they live in those jurisdictions. Finally, I'd like to speak a little bit about our BOE file system. One of our legislative priorities from last year was Senate Bill 107, which would allow local candidates to have the same options that statewide and federal candidates have had for the better part of 2 decades, which is filing their campaign finance reports online. Now, I'm a little bit of a campaign junkie, so I'm preferable to this because some campaign treasurers don't have the best handwriting, and this would simplify things a little bit for me reading through it. But this bill allowed for the option to file electronically for local candidates, and that's available on the Seneca County Board of Elections websites. If you're interested, it's very simple. You sign up, you create an account, and then instead of just having the paper format, it's a portal, and you add line by line your donations. Now, upcoming, we have a post-primary campaign finance report on June 11th. The semi-annual campaign finance report is on July 30th. But that's my update to you all. I want to thank you again for having me. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Jacob, very good, very concise update. We appreciate it. Are there any questions out there? Anybody is welcome to ask questions at this point from the general public or from the other commissioners.
Jacob, I just want to thank you for your hard work. Several times I've been to Board of Election meetings and you were there taking notes and answering questions. And so I think you're doing a good job representing your region, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Jacob, thank you very much. We appreciate the job you do here. We do appreciate the update again. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Okay, mental health and recovery services. We have an update from Mershu, I believe, and I believe he's on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me. I do want to provide the community as well as county commissioners an update. I think it's a fairly important update. There are 50 mental health and recovery service boards across Ohio. Out of 88 counties, there are 50 of us. Some are single county boards and some are multi-county boards like us. We cover 3 counties. The north of us, that's a board that covers Erie and Ottawa counties. That's a 2-county mental health and recovery service board. Recently, actually, a little bit over a week ago, the Erie County Commissioners passed a resolution to split away from Ottawa County and create a single county board for Erie County. Therefore, it kind of left Ottawa County with two options. One is to try to create a single county board for Ottawa County, or two, to try to merge with an existing board that touches their area. So I was contacted by the Ottawa County Commissioners, and they are considering merging or trying to merge with our board district. Therefore, will create us a 4-county board. I do want to update you about this and publicly give an update, but I also want you guys to know this is in very early stages. One thing that's probably very important to say, never in the history of the boards since the late 70s, there was a county that pulled away from a board. So what Erie County Commissioners did 8 days ago, it's unique in the history of the state of Ohio. So as you can imagine, there are more questions than answers right now by the Ottawa County Commissioners and by myself, as well as the State Department. I did talk with the State Department, and that's actually quite a lengthy list of things that need to happen next. But one thing I do want to assure you is that, one, I will not recommend this merger if at any time I believe the Seneca County residents will get anything less. I would recommend the merger only if I think we as Seneca County will gain something from it. The second item I want to discuss is that this cannot happen without the approval of all 3 sets of county commissioners that our board currently covers. So that's Seneca, Sandusky, and Wyandotte. All 3 sets will have to agree to this. Actually, it's my understanding that each county commissioner set will have to have at least 1 public hearing about this if the merger is to take place. Obviously, I also strongly recommend that my board members, which we have 14 right now, a good number of them appointed by you, have also feedback and input if we move forward to merge with Ottawa County. I do want to highlight a few things about our board, and I think that's why probably makes Ottawa County Commissioners attracted to merge with us. First, I'm proud of my organization that somebody's considering this. We have a 14-member board. 8 currently are appointed by county commissioners in the 3 counties and 6 by the State Department. We are a culture of quality certified board. What that means is our association is looking at all best practices across the nation when it comes to policies, procedure, fiscal responsibility, clinical reviews. And I'm very proud to say that we have been a culture of quality certified board for 10 years in a row, which is the higher standard you can get as a board in Ohio. We also have 10 consecutive years of state fiscal audits with 0 findings. So it's something I'm very proud of and I kind of take to heart. We have 10 consecutive years of no findings when it comes to the state of Ohio Auditor of State Audit. Since I took over in 2013 until fiscal year 2020, which is the last fiscal year that ended, we have a 55% overall increase in our budget. In the last 4 years, we successfully passed 3 new mental health levies, 1 in each county. And this is another thing I would like to highlight. Our board has single county levies. What that means is whatever we collect in Seneca County has to be spent on services for Seneca County residents only. We cannot take Seneca County levy funds and spend it for a client in Wyandotte County. Every county has their own levy put on a ballot by the county commissioners. Every county collects a little bit different and has a different period that we levy on. Now, this is different than what Erie and Ottawa counties experience. Erie and Ottawa County had the district levy, which means the county commissioners didn't put it on a ballot, was actually the Mental Health Recovery Service Board who put it on a ballot. So when they collected their funds, is my understanding Ottawa County is collecting approximately 2.4 million in property taxes, but they spend on Ottawa County residents only approximately 1.5. So they are losing $900,000 of Ottawa County taxes for Erie County residents. I did assure Ottawa County that if they will merge with us, their funds will stay with Ottawa County funds. I talked actually with our county auditor this morning. I do have some legal questions. One, I want to make sure that when our Seneca County levy is up for renewal, that we are able to renew it and we don't have to ask for a new levy because the name of our organization might change. So I want to make sure that the Secretary of State will not say, well, this organization that passed the levy in 2017 no longer exists. Therefore, you have to ask for a new levy. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. If that happens, I'll definitely not be in favor of the merger. You guys know how hard it is to pass a new levy. So again, I want to make sure that our 3 levies are not being affected by this merger. It is my understanding Ottawa County will have to ask for a new levy beginning 2023 or 2024. They can continue to collect what they currently have. Just to give you an idea, Seneca County, we collect approximately $1 million per year in levy funds. Ottawa County today collects about $2.4 million in levy funds, just to give you a comparison. Any questions? I probably have way more things to say, but I want to take a lot of your time. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Marcia, you said Seneca County collects about $1 million and Ottawa County 2.4. How about the other 2 counties?
Sandusky collects approximately $1 million as well. Wyandotte County, 330,000. So our 3 counties combined equals Ottawa County single county levy.
Why is there such a large disparity, do you suppose? Why do they feel the need to collect so much more?
I'm not sure if they feel the need to collect so much more. I believe that when they will have to pass a new levy, I believe they will ask for a reduction in the millage. As I said, they do collect 2.4. So Ottawa County residents are taxed for 2.4 mil. They get approximately 1.5 back. Okay. Especially in Sandusky County 2 years ago, you guys might be aware, we actually asked for a smaller tax. My board and organization believes that we don't want to overtax our residents. If we can live with 1 million and we can make it work, and I think we can, and we can provide quality services, we will not overtax our residents.
Very good, thank you.
I do believe there are quite a bit of benefits to merge with them. I think we as a board district will be way more competitive for various state and federal grants because of the volume and the area that we will cover. I really think will put us in the driving seat to fight or compete with larger counties such as Lucas County for various state and federal grants. And we have been very aggressive regarding those grants in the last 3-4 years.
So Mirsha, timeline, you obviously have laid out what you feel you need answers for. I thought you did a good job there. Will it start with your board recommending that we move forward or not? And then after that, then the commissioners would be involved? Is that the next step?
It is correct. So the next step is actually I'm trying to receive a little bit more guidance from the State Department and receive some legal advice about our current levies. With that information, I will go to my board and have some discussions. And if my board will agree to move this forward, then I'll have to bring it in front of you guys with a proposed plan on how this will happen. And as I mentioned, I'll also have to take it in front of Sandusky and Wyandotte County commissioners, as well as obviously Ottawa will have to approve it. So all 4 of you guys will ultimately have to approve this for this to happen.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah, please let us know if there's anything we can do along the way. If your board decides to move forward, if we need to modify any of our agreements that will assist you in making certain that the levies continue, or whatever it is that we can do to make your life easier, let us know that, please, right away.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions, general public, regarding mental health and recovery services? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to the county administrator's report. Stacy?
I have nothing today.
Okay. Commissioners reports, Tyler?
Yeah, yesterday, Commissioner Paradis and I went out to Fostoria, went out there to their Iron Triangle, their opening of their park and their caboose. Very impressive. That group that they have there that does all that has done a lot of work here over the last few years, and it was very impressive. Also met with Derek Devine here this week, went through his department, went through some different things. But like I said, each week I try to get out to some of the different electeds and departments here within the county. So met with Derek and his people this week, and that went pretty well. Land bank meeting earlier in the week. That's about all I have here.
Okay. Commissioner Paradiso.
Thank you. I have, of course, I have to mention EMS today. Last night, Bloom Scipio EMS District formalized and accepted the AVR's request to merge. So that's those documents have been executed and will be sent over to the prosecutor and the auditor to begin their work, and this will go into effect July 1st. So I want to just commend everyone out there for their vision and their hard work. We also had a meeting with Bascom. Just Stacy, Ken, and I went over and met with some individuals at Bascom Fire and one of their members from EMS. Thought we had a healthy discussion. And again, you know, we just keep our boots to the ground and continue to listen and work and try to move things forward. So I was real encouraged by, you know, that progress, I guess. Looks like we're going to move our work session out because we don't have our guidance yet. I know Stacy has a list. Many people, including the commissioners, have given Stacy items to be put on a list for us to discuss. So I would like in advance of that meeting, maybe Stacy, if you could categorize that list or group it up so we can all look at, we have the ability that day, next week, Commissioner Kirshner, to add one if we want to, if we think of something, but I think that would help get us focused a little bit if we could get that in advance. Hopefully we have guidance by then. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but so that's my comment there. Thank you. Okay. And I want to, I do want to mention, and I want to thank Nikki Smith, who's worked with us. I've had her in my office a million times helping me. And you're on the line, Nikki. So thank you very much for your all your support of the commissioners. And I want to wish you well in your new endeavor as you move on. But thank you sincerely for, you know, helping me and all of us, really. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nikki.
Okay, we had this morning, 8 o'clock, the Chamber Legislative Breakfast. Senator Reineke, Representative Clerk, Mayor Mons, and myself gave kind of updates in each of our different governmental subdivisions, and I think it was well attended, and everybody kind of got up to date on what happened in 2020 and what we look forward to in 2021. Of course, the overriding theme was, you know, what happened during the pandemic, and it sounds as though both the state of Ohio and the city of Tiffin and the county fared pretty well. I would also like to add my thanks and congratulations to Nikki and wish her well. Okay, old business, Stacy.
Yes, we have resolutions. Let's see if I can bring those up. The treasurer's office had put this on our agenda back in February. And I think at that time we kind of postponed it. We weren't making any adjustments till after the first quarter. Paul reached out to Nikki, so we put it on the agenda to bring this up again for discussion. As you can see, and Paul can explain it, he's asking for an additional $10,000 in the other expense line in the general fund, and then $20,631.90 in his DRETAC fund. Justification just says reserved for later use. Maybe I'll have a better explanation.
So my understand, let me make sure I understand this. The funds, we have already appropriated the budget funds for the year for the treasurer's office.
We passed his budget at the beginning when we did all of everybody else's, yes.
And was that budget amount sufficient to administer the office?
I think that would be a question for Paul.
Okay. And is it typical that we would, under the justification, talk about reserved for later use? Don't I recall most of them have a specific reason?
Yeah, usually when departments come and ask for additional supplemental appropriations or even appropriation adjustments, their justification, whether they actually put it in the system or they usually either call me or email me saying, hey, I've got a sup app in for, I have, I need additional supplies, I need additional, my printer died. So there's usually some sort of justification or description go along with it.
I mean, I'm used to seeing for travel or for education, as you say, or for supplies or for equipment. I'm not sure what, reserved for later use means. So is Paul on the line? I guess he can explain that.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to try to keep this as simple as we can. We're not asking for $10,000 from the general fund just to come from the general fund. It was money that we had earned from the land bank for administration of the land bank last year. And the only way we could get that money into the system was to first deposit it into the general fund. So technically the $10,000 is the treasurer's payment for administration to the land bank last year.
But that was for 2020, correct?
Yes, for 2020. And then the DRETAC is just because we have additional funds there, more than we anticipated, that we always receive every year. So neither one of these are any kind of a hit to the general fund in excess of anything that we haven't already put in there. As far as the reason for reserve for later use, I guess I'd have to ask you to keep in mind that we made this request 12 weeks ago. And at that time, we were in pretty good shape and still are for meeting the needs of most of what we requested. However, through the budget process last year, under the general fund, there were some funds that were either cut or eliminated completely. And so we would be putting these funds into those areas. So one of them
funds
is,
should be requested in those lines, not in other expense.
well, I understand that at least I was told that until you know for sure where you're going to need it, that you would just put it in other. And then later on, we come back and tell you where we want to put the other funds. So
that's not normally how we do it.
Okay.
Other commissioners, input here, please.
Oh, this is, from my perspective, I've spoke with Paul, spoke with Stacy. And I'm I see both sides of how everybody's looking at it. And I'm actually looking at it a third way. And because I'm trying to understand the way we do it. So clearly we have other departments that have budgets. Stacy's been doing this a long time. There's a lot of precedent in how we handle these kind of things. So we want to take that into consideration. I'd like to talk about the DRETAC money first, since that to me is kind of straightforward, has less moving parts to it. So is this $20,631 would it be reflected in Paul's DRETAC fund were we to look at that today?
Paul, you can help me clarify this. Was this a revenue that it was anticipated low? So Budget Commission increased the revenue. So is that where the 20,000 came from?
That's the way I understand it from Julie, yes.
Okay, then my second question is the prosecutor's office. My understanding is maybe not in this transaction, but the same amount of money theoretically that goes into the treasurer's office from DRETAC should be equal to in the prosecutor's side of things. Is that a fair statement?
That would depend on what they actually anticipated for revenue for their department this year.
But at some point it catches up at some point, right?
At some point, at the way the formula is set up is that the prosecutor's office gets 2.5% of the DRETAC funds. The treasurer's office gets 2.5% and land bank gets 5%.
Just so everybody understands, it's delinquent real estate tax monies from the general public. We use acronyms. So this is money that comes into the county that is real estate taxes that have been late or we had to do some special collection on. So the DRETAC is delinquent real estate taxes.
Right.
Okay, and then my third comment, and maybe this to you, Stacy, is I don't recall the prosecutor ever coming in asking us about this kind of thing. So are we treating the treasurer and the prosecutor different, or is it I'm missing something?
I know the prosecutor's office, they usually only budget what they need. Sharon's very detail oriented over there. She only requests what she needs. So they have a carryover, not large, but they do have a carryover.
So I'm just trying to understand this. Okay. So this money would be in Paul's DRETAC account because it's DRETAC money, and just like it would be in the prosecutor's account. And then when Paul wanted to use the money, because it's his DRETAC money, he would just make a request to us what he's using it for.
Yes. Yep.
And what this is asking is that he unencumbers the money and he can just use it later without asking us.
No, I still have to ask you.
Well, I mean, that's a question. Yeah. So I don't understand. I'm trying to understand I guess we're down to this. Okay. So what if we do this? Does it have any effect on your life, Stacy?
Well, unless he plans on using something for other expense, which there are pretty limited things you can purchase out of other expense. I assume there would be probably another request later in the year to do an appropriation adjustment, which some of those usually just come through me, which I would probably bring to the board. Or he could just, hold that money and just do a supplemental appropriations, when and if it's needed, because it will always stay in his carryover. He'll always be able to use it if he needs it. You don't necessarily always need to appropriate your full amount of revenue plus your full carryover. It's still going to be there. It's always going to be there. It's DRETAC money. It's the treasurer's money. But usually we have, if somebody asks for a supplemental appropriation, it's usually, I had a copier breakdown. I had but that's up to the board. It's not something we normally do.
So this Paul's asking for regarding DRETAC money is not the same thing that's not the way the prosecutor does it.
Unless he has an expense that he wasn't anticipating, then if that happens, the prosecutor would then ask for a supplemental appropriation for whatever he needed that expense for. Usually they're pretty on point with their budget. They don't normally ask us for appropriations, any additional appropriations.
Okay, so I have one more question. So see, to me, this is just, I don't really understand it. So if we pass this or we don't pass this, Paul still has the money in his DRETAC account, right?
Correct.
And
What
then
is that?
Paul,
What is that fund number?
The 1021. Your DRETAC fund 1021.
Yes.
is that right, Paul?
Yes, that's 1021, but is there a separate fund account that, I mean, right now you're telling me that there is, I'd have to look and see. I don't have the numbers to even verify that where the 1021 is balance wise right now.
So when I look at the budget, Paul, I'll see a DRETAC. There is a DRETAC line, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so in other words, if this money hits your DRETAC account, then you have to come to the commissioners anyhow with a request. Why do we need to do this? Are you concerned that this is not going to go in your DRETAC fund?
Quite frankly, I was concerned about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in your camp there. I think it belongs in the DRETAC fund. And I think that's where it's going to go, right, Stacy? Is that?
Yep, it'll sit in his carryover. It's like the same reports we get, that we get money that's available to appropriate. The auditor sends us that certificate, usually after every board session, what you have available to appropriate. So it will stay in his DRETAC fund. The prosecutor has his own DRETAC fund, so there's no mingling of funds there. This is just his DRETAC fund, so it'll just sit in his available to appropriate in the DRETAC line.
Okay, is there anything that could negatively impact the DRETAX fund, the treasurer? In other words, is there any way that the county could take money out of that fund?
Not the general fund. I guess the only thing that would potentially, if the revenue doesn't come in as what's anticipated. But I think he's been fairly close the last couple of years of what they've anticipated collecting and what they've actually collected.
I mean, in its simplest form, the money that's there is basically in a savings account or reserve account as opposed to an active checking account. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's there to be used at a later date if necessary, but not necessarily transferred for general use at this point.
Correct.
Stacy, is this the way, I don't remember this being done like this previously. I mean, I've only been through, 2 budget cycles, but I don't remember that we did it this way the last time, I guess.
I think you anticipated your revenue higher. I think it was a clerical error in, I don't know where the communication dropped. I just remember Budget Commission having to certify an additional revenue for you because it was not turned in correctly, whether it was just underestimated or if they just put the wrong number in. So I think usually you are pretty good with your anticipated revenue. It's just this year there was a change.
So
and that had something to do with a form that you thought that I was supposed to furnish you with is that what you're talking about, or?
No, it just the auditor's office didn't have it certified for you to be able to use at Budget Commission, and I'd have to look up the date. There was additional revenue certified for you. So I remember you asked the question, why is the land bank or the DRETAC being brought up? And it was the auditor's office. I think it was a clerical error, just got the wrong number got put in. So you had 20,000 less in anticipated revenue. So unless you aren't going to get the 20,000 in, that's what you're anticipating getting.
Well, if Julie certified it, it would tell me that it's already there. Is that correct?
No, she just certifies what you anticipate. Like Budget Commission, you're on Budget Commission. When we do general fund, we come to you, to anticipate the revenue for the next budget cycle.
Okay.
So we, the commissioners, we turn in what we think we're going to receive in revenue for the following year, or even if there's a change in the middle of the year. We increase our anticipated revenue, budget commission reviews it. If they agree, they certify it. So they certify or agree that you're gonna receive that revenue. So that revenue hasn't been collected yet. It's just anticipated revenue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I guess I don't want to confuse things or make it look different or worse in your eyes maybe. But I believe that as a result of the first half collections, there's going to be an additional, and we had already allowed for this, but our 2.5% will amount to about $47,000 for the treasurer's DRETAC. And then another 47 for the prosecutor's DRETAC if they, whatever they do. And then 94,000 for land bank.
That's good news.
Yes.
And Paul, this is on top of this 20. Okay.
I would have to say it is. Stacy, is that a fair
I don't know. That would be budget commission and you certifying it with them. I was not given that information.
Well, like I said, it's just, we know that because the settlement's been done, but hasn't probably been
posted yet.
So I think, Paul, when that money comes, it'll be traded the same as this money.
That's what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm starting to understand. Yeah.
And so I hope the other two commissioners and Stacy are okay with this discussion, because this is my second go around and I'm trying to understand this as well. So are you okay, Paul, with removing this request for 20,000, the SUP app, and with the understanding that you're going to get that money deposited in your DRETAC fund?
Yep. And then we do have some computer issues that's coming, kind of rearing its head right now in the office. And so we may be appropriating some money for equipment in order to cover that. But so far, they're still working on it. I'm not sure what the status of that is. But if that comes to fruition or looks like it's going to, then we'll put in a SUP app for that amount, I would assume.
Yep, that way you don't have to ask for it twice. If you put it in other, and then you need equipment, then we're just kind of have to transfer it to a different line. This way, if you just wait till you need it, it can just be one request. And
well, the other moving part to that is that some of the money that's going to be dropping out of the sky for us here may be designated for technology. So we may be able to fund more computers or whatever the case would be without looking at the general fund or the DRETAC money.
Okay.
And then regards to the other SUP app, I mean, I don't even know how to.
This was a weird one.
Yeah.
It came up quick at the end of the year. And I mean, obviously Mike and Tony, you were involved in that, but it was basically a payment for admin that specifically said went to the treasurer and went to FEDC. And so again, I'm not sure how this money is treated or what fund it's put into to assure that it stays there for the treasurer's use.
So the budget, go ahead, Mike.
No, Tony, you go.
So my recollection was, and I support the budget process, and Stacy's, we're dealing with everybody in the county. Okay, there were some cuts made to your budget, but at the same time, you kind of knew this 10,000 was coming.
Right.
We had a true up with the land bank. And that was a year end. We kind of waited to the end with the land bank, and FEDC and the treasurer, were paid $10,000. Where I'm having, so I don't know the transaction states. I'm going to yield back to you, but along the way, normally the county budgets are submitted and approved in October, November, right, Stace? And they're done. They're closed for the following year.
Unless there's
This
some
year
unexpected.
with COVID, yeah, and all the moving target, Paul, we were still talking budget, on into January, and then as money was changing, and so it was. I don't want to say it was sloppy, but it's just difficult to have 2020 discussions when you're on into 2021 and what's the accounting. But I think you felt that 10 would be enough to offset your shortage. Okay.
Right.
And then along the way, in fairness to that, I think you and Stacy had some good conversations and worked through some things. Maybe not, both of you aren't exactly 100% in agreement, but I think there was some movement on both sides with advertising money, some other things that were accommodated. So, that's kind of my story. Now, what we do with this 10, I'd yield to Commissioner Kirschner and Stacy to explain it, but I think Paul's question is, where is it? And if I need it, can I put in a sub app to get, I don't know. So I'll yield to you, Stacy, to help me straighten me out.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I know we had this discussion earlier in the year. If you look at the land bank meeting minutes that Paul had forwarded to you, it indicates that the land bank had agreed that for the expenses that the treasurer's office had incurred through 2020, that it would be reimbursed. Now, in the general fund, we're all under one fund, the general fund. So we were using sales tax money, property tax money to pay the land bank expenses that he charged out of the general fund. So in my mind, it was a 2020 reimbursement to help offset the cost of 2020 expenses, not an additional 10,000 onto his 2021 budget.
So in other words, let me make sure I understand this. In other words, the county funded the expense for the treasurer of staff, et cetera, for land bank work during 2020.
Say that again, Mike. I'm sorry. Say that again.
The county actually funded through the general fund the treasurer's expense as it related to employees, people that were responsible for land bank administration.
Yeah, no, that's not right. It was funded through DRETAC.
Roseanne was paid for out of partially out of the general fund.
And
Okay.
is Roseanne the one that does land bank stuff?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that the conflict here is whether we've already funded it once and then we're asking to fund it again. Is that, Stacy, accurate?
That's the way I took this request.
So
Obviously,
you
we're
thought-
all in disagreement.
So your way of thinking from a fiscal standpoint is that we spent the money and the reimbursement of 10,000 just basically reimbursed us for the money that we spent in 2020.
Right.
And to add an additional 20 or $10,000 would mean that we pay for it twice.
Yes. That's what I feel with this request, since it was a 2020 expense. That was what was in their minutes.
Yeah, and so my comment, I understand what you're saying, Stacy, and reading the minutes and being, I don't disagree with that. My conversations with Paul, I think, were implied that, you're 6,400 short. You've got this revenue of 10,000 coming in that really not being taken into consideration. And so maybe, next year your revenue is going to be higher, or you'll be able to make up for that shortage. So I think the mechanics are, if Paul has a need into this year's budget for something, he can make the request to us, right? For a sup app. I think what he wants to do is just say, I got an extra 10,000 in my reserves because of everything we talked about. But that's not how it's interpreted by you or Commissioner Kirschner or the minutes or that kind of thing, right? So I think literally we probably can't do this because we haven't done this before, is my understanding, right?
Yeah, this is not how we usually do it.
Yeah, but I think at minimum, we should recognize that Paul and I are new at this, and him and I did have a discussion, and he's thinking one way, I'm probably thinking something in between where we're at. And
I guess I was really basing that on what you told me, Tony, and that was just what you said, is that the budget was short. You know, we asked, I've got several items here that we asked for that either weren't funded at all or else they were reduced. And your statement to me at that time was, I think we got a way that we can cover those shortfalls by having the land bank give you $10,000 for admin for last year.
so if you could use that 10 that wasn't calculated and, wasn't part of your budget, right? When you were putting your budget together, you were 10,000 short of revenue, right? Because you had received the 10, but the 10 was coming. So, that's how I looked at it. Now the 10, in the minutes, it was read that it was for reimbursement, and then the 10 didn't come till this year. And so, Paul, I think we're into the mechanics of it. And, again, if you needed something and you came back to us, I think we would strongly consider it. I don't know what the other two commissioners think, but what I don't want to do as a commissioner is try to break set precedent on something like this, but I also want to be fair to the rest of the commissioners and Stacy that you and I did have that discussion, right?
Stacy, I don't have it in front of me, but what was the total budget for the treasurer's office in 20, and what's the total budget in 21?
Let me look. Stop sharing my screen so I can look.
So Commissioner Schuff, these are the things that you learn over as you go, buddy.
Yeah, I get it.
It's good, to understand it.
The paperwork that you sent over to me originally, Stacy, was a budget in 2020 of 206,488.09.
That's just general fund, right?
Pardon me?
That's just general fund, right?
Yes.
Okay. So 206 for
2020.
Okay, and what is it, Stacy, for 2021? Or what is it, Paul?
What we actually approved, 209, 336.76.
Okay, so similar. Okay, I was just trying to get a handle on where we were as far as operating costs go.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say this. I would say that we would look favorably upon any request that the treasurer had regarding supplemental appropriations for anything that they needed throughout the year for a specific item for a specific purpose. But I don't think that we can set a precedent by saying we're going to appropriate an additional $10,000 for potential future use.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul, that's where I'm at with it. And I appreciate your bringing it up. Sorry for the confusion. And I've learned something too here, Stacy, okay, with the process. But again, I think COVID was part of it. It was year end. We're talking your budget on into January. The whole thing was just really odd to me. So appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
So is the request being withdrawn then, or are we voting on it?
No,
I'm not prepared to vote on it.
Yeah, we'll just remove it on from the agenda. Okay.
So my understanding then is the request as it was made is not going to be considered. Is that right?
But that if you have specific supplemental appropriational needs into the
Okay.
future, we will look favorably upon those.
All right, we'll have those, try to have those to you next week.
Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, new business. Statement.
Yes. Okay, back to the next. So I have a supplemental appropriation from the Clerk of Quartz. As we've had a couple already, travel is starting to, places are starting to open back up. They need to get to their required education seminars, and this goes along with it. This is in her title administration fund for $1,500. And then I think that's the only financial I have. And
I guess it's nice to see a little traveling going on. And
yes.
In one way, it's money, but it's good to get out and see some travel.
Yep. Let me share these. Share. Okay, so I have a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing a contract with Rush Truck Centers of Lima for a 64 passenger school bus on behalf of the Seneca County Opportunity Center. The total bid amount, $106,031. And looks like there were some options added for an additional $5,950.
Yeah. Does this where we've got another one of these coming too?
The bid was for 2. I guess this doesn't say.
Oh yeah, but there was one bid. Yeah, is
Yeah.
Lou on?
I think
There was
Ron
one bus. We accepted it. You opened a bid last time. I'm sorry, this is Ron Davidson.
Yeah.
You opened up a bid last time for vans.
Oh, okay.
We haven't processed those yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought there were 2 vehicles, but I didn't remember what. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then I have a resolution authorizing the agreement with Thomas Miller and Associates on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. I have, there's this contract. This is for a wage study. And then I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to sign satisfaction of mortgage for, and I'm bad with names, Ostola Baker for the satisfaction of her loan with the Seneca County Commissioners for work done through the Community Housing Improvement Program FY 1995. And
That's a good feeling. 25-year loan to pay off.
Payoff of $10,148. And stop share those. And I think I have 2 more, which I reluctantly will read these. I have a resolution accepting the resignation of Nicole Smith as clerk for the Seneca County Commissioner's Office effective April 30th. And then I have a resolution appointing Kylie Gardner as the clerk / assistant administrator for the Seneca County Board of Commissioners on a temporary basis. We'll begin on the next business day, which will be Monday, May 3rd. And I think that's all the resolutions I have.
Okay, gentlemen, your pleasure. Supplemental appropriations and authorization to purchase equipment and accepting resignations and appointments.
Okay, I make a motion. We accept the supplemental appropriations as read.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Nicole?
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
No, I don't accept the resignation.
Yeah. I was going to do that, actually.
Oh, yes.
That was good.
Okay. Well, we're going to go into executive session for purposes of personnel and contracts, but first, I don't believe there'll be any action taken after that. So, Jimmy, you can make the announcement, or well, let's just see if Audrey's on the line. Let her speak.
Yeah, you've pretty much figured out we go to her first. I don't actually see her in here, so I'll do the spiel. If you'd like to come forward during public comment, you can hit the unmute button there on your computer or mobile device. If you are joining us via the phone lines, you can hit *6. That will unmute your line. And if you'd like to speak during public comment, just please come forward now.
Well, Audrey was busy this morning with the legislative breakfast, so we wore her out already. How about, do we have anybody from Highbridge on?
I know he had another Zoom meeting at 10:45, so.
Lost him. All right, very good. Anything else out there? Any public comment at all? Okay, hearing none, I will accept the motion to go into executive session for contract negotiations and employment.
It's personnel, employment, and I also have a land acquisition.
Okay, thank you.
I will make a motion that we go into executive session for the reasons explained by the county administrator.
All right.
Second.
Okay, Nicole?
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
and Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. So are we leaving this and going to a different room here, or what's the?
Yes. Yep. We'll just go.
Yeah, so I'll pause. Just mute your microphones. I will pause the recording, and then when we go back into session, we'll restart the recording. For those on Facebook, I'll just leave it up. So we're gonna be quiet for a while. Okay, I just started the recording again, so go ahead, Commissioner Kirschner.
Okay, well, it's 12:39 and we are out of executive session. We have no action to take based on discussions in executive session. So I will entertain a motion for, do we need to make a motion to go back out of executive session, or we're just out?
I think so, with the roll call, I think.
Okay, yeah. So I need to move to go back into regular session. Tony, I'll take that as a
motion. Yeah, we come back. We come out of executive session.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tyler. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, so we're back into regular session. Is there anything else that needs to be presented to the commission?
You wanted a special meeting on Wednesday at 9:30?
Yes, it will be a one item meeting, and that the agenda will be sent out through the normal channels, notifications to the press. Okay.
I don't have anything else to add. Thank you.
I will then at 12:40 adjourn this session of the commissioners meeting. Thank you all for attending, and God bless.